Hello, welcome back to Outlandish Claims, everyone. We are ready to start a new week, fresh, ready to go. We got Gio in another box. We got Mike right here. We're going to talk some NBA Finals right now. The general question here is, what the hell? Is there any way for the Bucks to get back in, or is it over?
Oh, yeah, Milwaukee's definitely got a chance to win. Seeing Giannis put up 40 points and his hyperextended knee not looking like it was serious is a great start. Let's keep in mind that Chris Paul teams, while they tend to have an advantage, something always happens, unfortunately, whether it's an injury that happened a couple of years ago in Houston in the second round or losing a 3-1 lead because of injuries, or even the first two games of last series they played against LA, like he had COVID protocol. So while a 2-0 lead is kind of, not easy to come back from, this Bucks team can come back and tie the series only if the rest of Giannis's cast can step up. That being Chris Middleton playing consistent basketball, Drew Holiday playing shutdown defense, Brook Lopez being able to drain three-pointers consistently. It's all about stopping Chris Paul and Devin Booker, which is way easier said than done, and, of course, stopping DeAndre Ayton, too, which is a whole challenge in itself. So you have to make sure that you're playing better zone defense, and Coach Mike Budenholzer can make better adjustments during the games because, as we're seeing, Monty Williams is completely out-coaching Budenholzer. There's a viral tweet or video that showed Monty Williams during Game 2 coaching up DeAndre Ayton because he was fouling too much, not really getting anything opportunity-wise. And he just simply said, cool, calm, collective. You know you're good. You know your game. Do your role. The points will come. Like a little pep talk, but you know what? It got them going. And they won the game eventually. So I'm not seeing Budenholzer do that. It's almost like, here's the roster. Here you go, Giannis. Drop 40 points. Maybe Middleton will drop a couple threes as well. So I think it's more of the Bucks getting a better supporting cast production, as well as finding a way to clog up the lane for Chris Paul to drive in and kick back out to Booker or Jay Crowder or Mikal Bridges. It's a lot, but they have the core to do it. It's all about the coaching to, get the job done.
Well, the Phoenix Suns played at home. First off, that's that Phoenix. This jersey, first off, is from those '90s days. I'm talking about the Kevin Johnson, which is the jersey I have on. Charles Barkley, Dan Marley era, later the Jason Kidd era. You know what I'm saying? But notwithstanding the jersey, the Suns have always, when they're good, had a distinct home court advantage. It's why they were in the Western Conference Finals all of those years ago during the Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, Mike D'Antoni, and later Alvin Gentry days. It's why they won so many games with Paul Westphal and Charles Barkley and KJ, Dan Marley, and the crew, right? When you talk about these Phoenix Suns, and yes, I got the shoes to match. Y'all know what it is. You're talking about right now a legitimate big three is what it's turned into. You've got the Hall of Fame caliber point guard in CP3. You've got the young superstar shooting guard, Devin Booker, who some people say is the next second coming of, dare I say, the great Kobe Bryant, who happens to be my favorite player of all time. We ain't going to go there just yet, but the boy's got skills. And you have, as fundamental as there is a big man in your number one pick, DeAndre Ayton. I mean, that combined with all of your shooters, guys that know how to knock down shots, the Jay Crowders of the world who have been battle tested, the young studs and Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson and Cam Payne and all these boys. Everybody on this team is playing with a chip on their shoulder because they feel like they've been counted out. And when you have a situation like that, not only is Giannis capable of only doing so much, okay, because that's way too much for even him to overcome, but you need Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday to form that true big three on the Milwaukee Bucks side. They have not played like that the first two games of this series.
Well, we'll try to cut through the magic a little bit, and could you give me something concrete that you see the Suns doing that's leading them to such domination so far? 2-0 up at the third game. What do you see them do? What is the reason for this success against the Bucks?
They are making the other guys outside of Giannis beat them. So they are letting Giannis essentially get what he wants. They're locking in on everybody else. I mean, Giannis had 40 and 12 the other day, 42 points and 12 rebounds to go along with, I think, 6 assists, a few blocks. I mean, he was Superman. But when you have your second and third best players both shooting well less than 50% from the field, close to 33% from the field, that being Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, you're not going to win games like that, especially against the elite teams. So what the Phoenix Suns have done is they have allowed Giannis to go get his, okay? And they have basically put Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton in situations where you either have to make a play or we're going to make you beat us because we don't think that your big three is as good as ours. That's basically what's been happening. And when you have a situation like that, then your role players need to step up. Brooke Lopez, PJ Tucker, Pat Connaughton, all of those guys knocking down shots is crucial. Because if they don't, which the Milwaukee Bucks have not been shooting great from three the first two games, it's going to be a problem.
So what is it that the Suns are doing that's actively working basically against the Bucks? What is it? How are they doing this?
The Suns have a great pick and roll tandem. Chris Paul teams have always been about the pick and roll. Whether he was with LA, he had DeAndre Jordan there, Blake Griffin. You can even go back to the days of the Hornets with Monty Williams, his first coach actually, and Tyson Chandler. So now you've got DeAndre Ayton becoming a standout star player who is becoming a monster on the pick and roll, and the Bucks have no response for it. Because Giannis is a great defender, but if you take Giannis away from the 4 spot, then you got Booker they can kick out to for a 3-point shot. They have an answer for literally every single thing the Bucks can throw at them. But like I said before, as long as the rest of the guys off that bench, including Giannis's brother Thanasis, if he can come back off the bench and play like he has defensively this season, there could be a chance they can come back. But as of now, Phoenix just seems to be rolling, and they got the luck, they got the swagger, and they certainly have the offense too.
Well, speaking of teams with offense, the United States men's team just kicked the crap out of – oh, wait. No, they didn't, did they? They lost to Nigeria.
Brutal.
Yeah, what the – I mean, obviously, in the scheme of things, it doesn't matter because it was an exhibition. It did not matter for Olympic stuff. But does it matter?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why it matters, because this is a wake-up call that Team USA needs. It's almost like the Russians back in the 70s and 80s with hockey, where they're just so talented, they don't take their opponents seriously. And you can tell watching the exhibition game that they did not take Nigeria at all seriously. Fun fact, the starting center for the USA team, Bam Adebayo, he was eligible for Nigeria. He didn't. He decided to play for the USA. I'm sure he's not going to regret it long term, but man, Mike Brown was a good coach that game. He was coaching Nigeria. Simply enough, he took advantage of the fact that this group of players just thinks they're too good for their own, for even considering playing. And sure enough, they didn't try, and Nigeria made them pay. I don't think it's going to be an issue long term, but I think in the sense of they're going to see this and they're going to realize they need to play team basketball in order to actually win games. They don't have a facilitator on this team. There's nobody minus Damian Lillard and maybe Bradley Beal that can run the offense. Everybody's an isolation player, especially Kevin Durant. So they'll need to play more team basketball, which I think they'll eventually get to. But, man, embarrassing.
Does it actually mean nothing, or does it actually mean something?
It really doesn't mean anything. I mean, the U.S., despite the rest of the world clearly catching up, you always have your powerhouses in Spain, Argentina, to a lesser degree, Italy and France. Australia has been competitive. Brazil's always been competitive. Areas such as Greece, Africa, and more, like all of the countries in Africa, Nigeria included, Canada, the rest of the world is catching up, but this is really going to come down to the U.S. having their full scope of players. All right. And we know that the Kevin Durant's, the Drew Holidays, the Chris Middletons of the world. I'm not sure if Chris Paul is going to be playing, but I'm pretty sure that Devin Booker is going to be playing. When you have those guys that haven't been in there and are going to be a crucial part of that U.S. rotation, there's no concern. They will blow Nigeria out if they face them in the first round by 40 points, guaranteed.
There's a certain player rumored to be heading to the Knicks next year. Why don't you fill the good people in, Gio?
Yes, so reports are saying that some executives believe this offseason Chris Paul will opt out of his contract to take a max deal, or at least a 1 or 2 year max deal with the Knicks. Do I think it's going to happen? Maybe. I mean, the Knicks have been coveting Chris Paul for at least a decade. When they got Carmelo Anthony, he's always, ever since then, he's been rumored to come to New York. Honestly, at this rate, I don't see it happening, mainly for a couple of reasons. One, if Phoenix wins the championship, he could either retire on top, because he's going to be 37, or they re-sign him to a couple of years to end his career in Phoenix and mentor the young guys like DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges. That's the core they want to build around for the future. And having Chris Paul and Monty Williams there is proving that they're developing them correctly. And Phoenix will do whatever it takes to, make sure they can fully develop by the time he retires. I hate the fact that this happens every offseason with the Knicks. And now them being good makes it even more hurt because, you want that to happen. But reality is, why would he leave a team that is 2 games away from winning a championship as of this recording to a team that is currently a first-round exit and is a couple of players away from winning it? I don't know. But the good thing is about Chris Paul, no matter where he goes, the team gets better. So if the Knicks make a move to get like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and then bring Chris Paul on, maybe it's worth it. But unless the Knicks make another big move to get Chris Paul over to the Garden, I can't see it happening.
Thoughts? Do you think it actually happens? If so, why? If not, why not?
No, it's not going to happen. I mean, if you were talking about Chris Paul to the Knicks about at this point, 10 years ago, I would have believed you. But Chris Paul is going to leave the Phoenix Suns, who are in the finals with a 2-0 lead, to go to the Knicks, who lost in the first round to Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. That don't make no sense. And listen, I'm not watching Robert Sarver, who happens to be the owner of the Phoenix Suns Pockets. I'm not watching James Jones on a daily basis, who's the general manager. But I do, for a fact, know that James Jones knows what he's doing. I do know that Robert Sarver has well over $500 million in net worth. Okay. And so if he's not going to pay Chris Paul, I mean, you got a better shot of meeting Christ. Like, come on. So with that being said, I guess we're going to go meet Christ right now. That wraps it up for us. We will be back to talk more of our favorite sports and many favorite topics to come. Take care and beware.